I've been sitting with these 3 cases for a long time. 3 women, 3 different decades, 3 different towns in 3 different corners of this country. And yet, when I lay their stories side by side, something cold moves through me. Because what connects them isn't where they lived, or when they vanished, or how old they were. What connects them is silence.
My name is Crystal Abercrombie, and I need you to understand something before I take you through this with me. I didn't know. That morning, on June 13th, 2013, in Brooksville, Kentucky, I woke up and I didn't know it was the last time I'd feel my son's hair under my hand. I didn't know it was the last morning I'd stand at my own kitchen window and watch the heat already rising off the yard before 9 a.m. I didn't know. If I had known, God, if I had known, I would have stayed. My husband was deployed, military, thousands of miles away, in a place I tried not to think about too hard, because the worry sits on your chest like a stone if you let it. I was holding things together at home the way military wives do. Quietly, completely, one day at a time. I was good at that, holding things together. I just didn't know that on this particular Thursday, everything was about to come apart. I told them I'd be back later. That's what I said, I'll be back later. The most ordinary sentence in the English language. The kind of thing you say without hearing yourself say it, because you've said it 1,000 times before, and it has always been true. I said it. I walked out. The screen door closed behind me. I didn't look back. I've thought about that a lot. The not looking back. I don't know if it would have changed anything. I don't know if there was something in the air that morning that I should have felt. Some pressure drop, some animal instinct that should have told me to turn around and go back inside and lock the door and call someone. I didn't feel it. The day just felt like summer. The highway unspooled ahead of me the way it always did. Green and familiar and a little hypnotic on a hot day. I was thinking about Cincinnati, maybe heading that way. I had people I was going to see, things I was going to do. The kind of loose Thursday afternoon plan that you don't write down because it doesn't feel important enough to write down. I think about that now. How nothing feels important enough to write down, until suddenly it's the only thing anyone wants to know. The park and pool at Johnsville came up on the right, the way it always did. I knew that lot, knew that pool. You know every inch of the roads around a small town after long enough. They become part of you, like the lines on your own hand. I pulled in, and that is where my memory of being free ends. I want to tell you what was in that car when they found it. My belongings, my clothes, my wallet. I want you to feel the weight of that. My clothes were in the car. Everything that said, this is who I am. This is where I belong. This is how you find me. Sitting on the seat of a car in a parking lot on a Kentucky highway. Someone had my keys. Someone I trusted was standing in that lot with my keys in their hand. And I was already gone. In small towns, the truth doesn't stay buried. It just travels differently. It moves through back porches and church parking lots and the space between 2 people at a gas pump. It moves in whispers and half sentences, in the way someone's eyes go somewhere else when your name comes up. I know what they whispered about me. I know the story that made its way to the people trying to find out what happened. The unconfirmed reports, they call them. Unconfirmed. As if the word makes it softer. As if uncertainty is the same as innocence. I was with people I knew, people I trusted on a summer afternoon, the way you trust anyone you've known long enough in a town small enough. Something went wrong. My body made a choice my mind didn't authorize. And the people who were with me, the people who knew me, they panicked. They decided their freedom was worth more than my name. They hid me, and then they went home. I don't know exactly where I am. I know it's somewhere in Kentucky or near it. Somewhere that someone drove to in the dark on a June night. Somewhere quiet enough and forgotten enough that they thought I'd stay hidden forever. They were almost right. But here's what they didn't understand about small towns. The truth doesn't stay buried either. It pools in the corners of ordinary places. It lives in the thing someone almost said at a dinner table, in the weight a person carries when they hear my name, in the moment someone's hand hesitates on a phone they haven't picked up yet. I'm asking you to listen for it. My husband came home to a house without me in it. My son grew up measuring time in before mom and after mom. And somewhere, right now, today, someone is living an ordinary life with an extraordinary secret. Someone drove past that park and pool this summer and felt something move in their chest that they've spent 11 years learning to ignore. My name is Crystal Abercrombie. I was a wife, a mother, a woman who said I'll be back later on a summer morning and meant every word of it. If you know something, anything, please contact the Bracken County Sheriff's Office. I did my laundry. I went to bed. I never woke up. My name is Yasmin Acree. I was 14 years old. I lived in Chicago, Illinois, and on January 15th, 2008, I did everything right. I went to the YMCA that Tuesday, the North Lawndale YMCA, the place I loved. Sports, activities, being a regular teenager for a few hours, which was something I had always had to work a little harder than most to feel like. I came home. I did a load of laundry. I folded it. I went to sleep in my basement bedroom. And I need you to understand how ordinary that sounds. How completely, entirely ordinary. Because that's the part that matters. I wasn't running from anything that night. I wasn't scared. I was a girl who did her chores and went to bed and expected to wake up in the morning the way I always had. I didn't wake up. When they found my room the next morning, it was untouched. My eyeglasses were still on my nightstand, the ones I needed to see. I wouldn't have left without them. I couldn't have. That's not something you leave behind when you run. And I want you to hold on to that, because the word runaway is going to come up, and I need you to remember my glasses sitting on that nightstand. No note, no signs of a struggle inside my room. But outside told the real story. 2 locks on the exterior fence, cut clean through. The lock on the basement door, also cut. Someone came to that building that night with a tool in their hand, knowing exactly which locks to cut, knowing exactly where I slept. Someone came prepared. That wasn't a runaway. That was someone who came for me. I need to tell you what the police decided about me. They looked at everything I just told you. The cut locks, the missing girl, the basement door forced open from outside. And they decided I had run away. I was a black 14-year-old with a complicated history, and that, apparently, was enough for them to stop asking questions before they'd even started. No fingerprints collected, not immediately. The broken lock from my basement door, the one someone had cut through to get to me, they didn't even take it as evidence. They admitted it later. Serious errors, they called them. By then, the window was closed. The evidence was gone. My family had been screaming into a silence for months, and the people who should have listened had already made up their minds about who I was. I want to tell you something about my life, because I think it explains why they found it so easy to write me off. I had a hard beginning. My mother was addicted to drugs. My brother and I were removed from her home when we were toddlers. I spent years in the Kentucky foster care system. Years I don't talk about, because what happened to me there left marks that don't go away. By 2001, my brother and I went to live with Rose May Starnes, our aunt by marriage. She adopted us in 2006. She loved me. I believe that. But love and harm can live in the same house. I know that better than most. She disciplined me with a belt sometimes. And sometimes she locked me in the basement. The same basement where I slept. The same basement where someone cut the lock and came in from the outside. I want you to think about that. I want you to sit with it the way I have. Despite all of it, I was moving forward. Freshman year at Austin Polytech Academy, a new job lined up. I had never run away, not once. I was a girl building a future out of the rubble I'd been handed. And I was just getting started. There is something I need to tell you about the building where I lived. There was a man in the upstairs apartment. His name was Jimmy Terrell Smith. He had moved in 2005, the year I would have been 11 years old, fresh out of prison, where he had been serving time for attempted murder. After his release, he was arrested 6 more times. He was always armed by his own admission. He sold drugs right outside my building. And he took an interest in me. I wrote about him twice in my diary. I won't tell you what I wrote. I'm not sure it matters now. Or maybe it matters more than anything. But he was there, 1 floor above me, every day. And I noticed him enough to write his name down. Rose May Starnes knew he lived there. She knew who he was. His father was her friend. She knew a convicted violent criminal was living 1 floor above her 14-year-old daughter. She didn't tell the police when I disappeared. She didn't tell them the following week, the following month. She told them in 2009, a full year after I vanished. And she only told them then because Jimmy Terrell Smith had just been arrested for raping 5 women, including 2 14-year-old girls he allegedly kidnapped. The same age I was when I disappeared. From jail, Smith gave a press interview. He told the reporter he knew what happened to me. He said he was responsible for 4 murders he had never been charged with. It was never confirmed. No charges were ever filed in my case. But I want you to ask yourself the question that I ask over and over from wherever I am now. Why would a man say that? Unless some part of him needed someone to know. Rose May Starnes died in 2014. She was 57 years old. Whatever she knew about that night, about Smith, about what really happened in that basement, she took it with her. The cut locks were never properly processed. The fingerprints were never collected. My life was reduced to a series of errors, assumptions, and silences by the people who were supposed to find me and by the people who were supposed to protect me. I am still classified as a missing person. Foul play is suspected. My case is unsolved. I think about those diary entries sometimes. 2 times I wrote his name. 2 times I noticed something, felt something, and put it on a page the way 14-year-olds do, because the page is the only place that feels safe enough to say the true thing. I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote it. Maybe neither do you, but I noticed him. I wrote it down, and then I was gone. I had glasses I needed to see. I had a job I was about to start. I had laundry, folded, waiting for a morning that never came. My name is Yasmin Acree. I was 14 years old. I deserved better than silence, and I am still waiting. I need you to understand. I need you to understand something before I tell you what I saw. I have been carrying this since I was 9 years old. I watched something happen inside the house where I lived, and I locked it inside my body, and I carried it through every single day of my life for 22 years. I want to tell you about my sister. Her name was Anna Marie, and she was the bravest person I have ever known. Not because she did anything extraordinary, but because she survived as long as she did in the house where we lived. There were 7 of us children. Our mother was Anita Maria Vega, our stepfather, Luis Vega Sr. The house had rules nobody said out loud because they didn't need to be. You obeyed my mother. You didn't question. You didn't disobey. And if you did, cold water, hunger, pain. I am not telling you this so you feel sorry for me. I am telling you so that when I tell you what happened to my sister, you understand it didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of a house that had been practicing cruelty for years. And in the winter of 1969, my mother killed her. I'm going to tell you what I saw, because my sister deserves to be spoken about out loud by someone who was there. It was winter, 1969. Anna Marie had done something. It doesn't matter what. In our house, the punishment was never about what you did. It was about whatever my mother needed it to be. She beat Anna Marie. Then she forced her into the bathtub. Cold water, a punishment she had used before on all of us. But this night was different. I was in that house. I was there. I watched my mother hold my sister's head under the water, and I watched her not let go. I was 9 years old. I was a child with no phone, no neighbor close enough, no adult who would believe me over my own mother. I was 9 years old, and I watched my sister die, and I could not save her. I have carried that my entire life. I know there was nothing a 9-year-old child could have done. I know that. But knowing something and feeling something are not the same thing. When Luis came home from the turkey farm that night, my mother had already wrapped Anna Marie in an army blanket and placed her in a cardboard box. A box from the farm, the kind built for moving things without ceremony. I watched him look at that box. I want to tell you, he did the right thing. He picked it up and he left. He drove to the railroad trestles, the viaducts, dug a hole in the frozen ground, and buried my sister. Then he came home, and my mother looked at me across that house. I understood, without a single word, what would happen to me if I ever told anyone what I had seen. 16 years passed. I grew up inside that silence, carrying Anna Marie through every year of my life. My mother was always there, always holding the same threat. If you tell anyone, I will kill you. Those words don't fade. They calcify. They become part of the architecture of you. In 1985, my mother called me over. She pulled out a sack, heavy, dirt-stained. She opened it. She looked me in the eyes and said, "These are Anna Marie's remains." Flat, matter of fact, as if she were proud of what she had kept. I did this. I kept the proof, and I'm still here. Months later, she told me she'd buried the sack at a fresh grave in Bunnell Cemetery, tucked inside someone else's burial, under a name that wasn't Anna Marie's. My sister was gone twice, by the same hands. It's 1992. I am 33 years old. I checked myself into a mental health facility in California because I had run out of ways to hold what I'd been holding. I started talking to a therapist, and one day the words came out of my body, all of it, the bathtub, the box, the viaducts, the sack of bones on my mother's table. The therapist listened to everything, then said, "If you don't go to the police, we will." I went. And what police found when they investigated? Almost nothing. No school records, no medical files, no neighbors who remembered her. The world had kept so little trace of my sister that police nearly couldn't prove she had existed. What they found was a birth certificate and one photograph. They went to Bunnell Cemetery and sifted the grave I pointed to. Turkey bones. My mother had swapped them, or lied, or the sack was never Anna Marie at all. Just one more cruelty to keep me afraid. I still don't know. Nobody does. My mother was convicted. The jury deliberated for 15 minutes. She was sentenced to 1 to 10 years. She served 3. 3 years for drowning my sister and burying her in a box. She walked out. Every one of my siblings was waiting for her. They embraced. They drove away. And I was not there. I have not spoken to most of them since. I paid for telling the truth with my entire family, and I would do it again, because my sister deserves someone to say her name. Anna Marie's body has never been found. The viaducts still stand. Luis died in the mid-1980s and took the exact location with him. My mother is gone now, too. And somewhere in the frozen ground of Frankfort, my sister is still waiting. Her name was Anna Marie Vega. She was my sister. And I never stopped being hers.